XL, the Pittsburgh Steelers are back in first place yet again, and we are back for another great episode on the one and only The Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy. I am Jay York Football. Alongside of me, as always, looking dapper from the car studio, mic'd up Sports One. Feels good to get that win, doesn't it?
Yeah, you said exhale. I mean, it's a momentary exhale for sure. I'm surprised, but I'm thrilled. A little bit good vibes heading into the crunch time, the end of the season here, and hopefully they can keep the momentum going against a hot Miami team that doesn't often fare very well in the freezing temperatures. So, something's got to give there, I suppose.
And a primetime game coming up. So, Mike Tomlin's always ready for those. But let's keep the momentum going with our great people over at DraftKings. Why don't you get into that, and then we'll get into the show and tell them how they can put some money this December in their pocket, maybe some extra Christmas money.
Maybe some extra Christmas money, because every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. It is not just football. It's first touchdown fireworks, anytime touchdown rushes, live bets that ride on every momentum shift. At DraftKings, every play is your next shot to win. But here is what you need to write down in Sharpie. New customers, bet just $5, you get 300 bonus bets instantly. Plus, grab over 200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. It's not too late. Still plenty of football coming your way. Your season can still start now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use our code SICKSPORTS. SICKSPORTS, SICKSPORTS, to get 300 bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Plus over 200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
There you have it. Shane, take it to the end zone.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Harris Smith shields. Flacco. Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast.
Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, as I said in the intro, the Steelers are back on top in the AFC North, and it wasn't pretty, but is it ever pretty and you don't get style points in the NFL? I'll kind of just jump into my takeaways real quick, and then you could take it away. The second half, the defense, they did come up big at the end, but it's just, again, for having the highest paid defense and just letting them come down the field. I know that touchdown, which I hate to say this as a Steeler fan, but I thought that was a touchdown, and it got called back. But it's nice when some things roll the Steelers' way. But overall, there's still a lot of – it's like I'm never going to not be happy about a win, but it was just like I'm still not convinced that this team can, make a legit run. I just think that, the offense I was, really happy with. It seemed like they did have a good week at practice. Aaron Rodgers really had his mojo. He did the discount double check and ran it into the end zone. So that was great to see a 42-year-old quarterback do that and play with some swagger. Him and DK, I think he had, 148 yards. I hope he's all right, too. I seen that he did stay overnight. I think it was for precautionary reasons. But overall, I don't think the offense was really ever the biggest issue for me. It was nice to see them firing on all cylinders. I still think, and I'm still not convinced, the biggest question mark, long term, if this team does want to make, and win a playoff game this year, have any sort of success to end the season, the defense just still, for me, just isn't cutting it. But overall, I'll take the win. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my takeaway. I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied.
Yeah, I'm happy about the offense and in particular the downfield passing game. That's something we haven't seen basically since the beginning of the year. They went
Yeah.
almost 2 calendar months not completing a pass of 20 yards or more. And then the very first play on offense, Rodgers hit Metcalf down the sideline for about 50 yards. And I feel like that set the tone immediately. And as the game went on, he had a deep ball to Calvin Austin that he hit, another huge play to Metcalf, opening up the second half. I like the fact that they just said, screw it. Let's put the ball in the 4-time MVP's hands and just let's live and die by him. Why not at this point? What the hell do you have to lose? Chuck it down the field. If it doesn't work, so what? You couldn't score anyway previously when you were dinking, dunking, and throwing 4-yard passes over the middle every single play. So who cares at this point? He's in his last season. Just let him have the reins. Let him call more plays at the line of scrimmage, it appears like they did. So very optimistic about that. Defensive line still leaky. Definitely have long-term concerns. I think the Ravens outrushed the Steelers by over 100 yards, maybe 120 yards in that game. But I will say I was impressed by the play of the linebackers, specifically Alex Highsmith. Big shout out to him. Most of the attention has gone to Nick Herbig this year whenever he, steps up kind of and enters the spotlight outside of TJ Watt. But I thought Alex Highsmith might have been their best defensive player on the field yesterday. He had the final sack as well on Lamar Jackson to essentially end the game. He was tough against the run, consistently, applying pressure to Lamar. The outside linebackers were really good. And you know what, man? Thank goodness Lamar said this was a playoff game coming into it, because boy, does he not play well when everything is on the line. So I'm impressed by
Yeah.
the Steelers for sure, but Lamar continues to come up pretty small in really big moments.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree there. I think he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks of our time. Is he great? He's dynamic. Definitely a playmaker, but overall, I don't think he's it goes back to, is he a full threat quarterback? I know he can run and show spurts, but when it matters, and that's when you get paid the big bucks, and that's what separates you, from the good quarterbacks from the greats, and he just simply can't get it done. I don't think that the Ravens right now, looking at this roster, are a Super Bowl contender. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Steelers beat them twice this year, especially with the next one being in Pittsburgh. I know the implications are going to be huge. I think that that's what could very well come down to the AFC North. I think the Browns and the Bengals have pretty much walked themselves out of this, but they'll like to play spoiler as well. If I would have told you right now, we have the Dolphins coming up, the Chiefs are 6-7, the Dolphins are 6-7, as the kids say, 6-7, whatever the heck it is. I'm too old for that now, but it's crazy to think about, the Steelers at 7-6 are on top of the AFC North, because I think with the healthy Burrow, the Bengals could have been right up there. Obviously, it's a little too late. The Browns are the Browns, and the Ravens. I think the Ravens and Bills at the beginning of the year were the picks for the AFC, at least going to the championship. So it's interesting. It's wide open, and that's what the little bit of optimism that I do have left. I think that it's a down year for the AFC as a whole, and I really don't see anyone pulling away, really. I feel like it's up for grabs, and what better year for the Steelers to kind of squeak in there and possibly get hot at the right time. So I'm not ruling that out. I'm just saying, number one, we're still in purgatory. I think that we say this every episode. I love Mike Tomlin, great coach, great leader of men, but I just think it's like 1 week fire Tomlin, the next week, but overall, looking at at the glass, I just think it's just time to move on. And we'll see this offseason. I know a lot of reports are coming out. I don't know what's going on, but this team is for me, it's just a mediocre football team. Once again, we've said it in the past, but you never know. You get hot at the right time. AFC is having a down year. I'm not rolling out a run either. Maybe not a Super Bowl run, but I would take a playoff win at this point as a Steeler fan. But it's going to get interesting, to say the least.
Or Ravens. Guess what? The Chiefs or Ravens probably aren't making the playoffs. So maybe it's the best year of all time to be a mediocre team, because they might have a chance to make some noise if they actually get in. And to get in, you mentioned it, they obviously have to win the division at this point. At least it appears that way, even though the Colts took a major hit with Daniel Jones going out.
That was
the key the rest of the season is to make sure that Week 18 game doesn't have major implications. And there's an easy path to that, I think. And it starts this week with beating the Dolphins, of course, and the Ravens losing at the Bengals, which I think will happen. They lost to the Bengals 2 weeks ago in their own house. Burrow's back and looking really good outside of that late pick. If the Steelers beat the Dolphins and the Ravens lose to the Bengals, the Steelers in essence have a 3-game lead going into the last 3 games of the season, which even for them, their standards would be really hard to blow, although they did it last year. So never say never. But you don't want that Week 18 game to have any major implications, because then it'll get flexed to Sunday Night Football, and these guys have been terrible at night. Which I guess is a good transition to the Dolphins game, because you have a Monday Night Football game, JY, against a team that's pretty hot, actually. You picked them to lose this game at the beginning of the season.
I was just going to say that. And I still, at this point, I think that the Steelers could be riding high and could go into this game. I would hope not, just because they know what's at stake. But, this Dolphin team, I think I want to say they started 2-7, right? Is that correct? Or somewhere around there. And then, just rattled off these wins to get close to 500. I just feel that, at the end of the day, football is a game of momentum, and, the Dolphins have momentum right now. I want to say the Steelers are riding high off of that big win, but, before that, there really wasn't much momentum. So I think it's going to be a tougher game than a lot of people think. I still have the Dolphins winning this game. This is like, I kind of was like, and I hate using this analogy, but this was like the first year where I wasn't a homer being a Pirate fan. And I think this is the first year, and not that I'm a homer, we like to tell it like it is, especially being in, what we do. I don't want to always just be like, the Steelers are the best football team ever. Like, yes, I love the Steelers, win or lose. I don't let them control my emotions like I used to, because either way, win or lose, we have, something to talk about on the podcast and putting content out. But with that being said, I'm just really sticking by my ground. I do not think this is a good football team. Specifically, I think that the offense definitely turned it up, but this defense to me is the biggest letdown and disappointment. Highest paid defense. And I just think in the second half, just watching this team collapse, it's like they're in like a prevent defense half the time. Like they're playing 30 yards off of some of these receivers, and third down, not getting it done. Just like watching it, I'm just like, man, I feel like this is like a Madden video game sometimes when the Steelers are out there. But, I'm still sticking by them losing to the Dolphins. I do not think this is a good football team. I think that the offense, but what was the ceiling? We've had years with, Russ showed spurts, and, then before that, it's Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, and Kenny Pickett. I just think that, overall, we're just not going anywhere. We're just spinning in circles still at the end of the day. And if we get a playoff win out of it, cool. But again, it doesn't solve the long-term problem. And this game kind of scares me just because of the way the season's been going. I hope that I'm wrong, and I will be happy to admit if I'm wrong, but I don't like this game for the Steelers.
Yeah, you're right about the roller coaster seesaw nature of the season. It feels like they get too high sometimes after a win, and then they are forced to come back down to earth the next game. They just kind of back forth the last handful of weeks. You saw it, big win over the Bengals at home, and then you come back the next week and you get beat by the Bears, right? And then you go on the road and you beat the Ravens, and who knows? The Dolphins are coming in, and I agree the Steelers are mediocre, but I think the Dolphins are mediocre too. Yeah. I know they've won 4 in a row, but I think 3 of those wins were against just trash teams. I know they beat the Jets on Sunday. They beat the Saints in that as well down here in Miami, but they did beat the Bills. So there's that. And we saw what the Bills did to the Steelers 2 weeks ago. So one thing I think it's in the Steelers' favor, of course, is it's going to be cold. The Dolphins generally cannot play in cold weather. But you know how the cookie crumbles. It just depends on a few bounces, a few bad calls here and there could change the entirety of the game. But I like the Steelers early on here. I just think it's a tough spot for the Dolphins. There's a lot going against them. They still don't have Tyreek Hill. Their running back, Achane, got hurt. He's dinged up probably their best offensive player. So the Steelers, know that this game obviously can give them another step towards an AFC North championship. And because they head to Detroit the week after, they need to win this game. They absolutely need to win this game because I don't have much faith in them winning in Detroit. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, in that, I mean, Detroit has been they're kind of bouncing around. I don't know what type of team's going to show up, but I think that at the end of the day, the Steelers still have a lot of question marks, and until I can see it consistently where they string together 2-3 wins and do it on both sides of the ball, I'm just not convinced that this team is going anywhere. Again, I hope that I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong, but if I'm being realistic and honest, I just don't see this is a good football team. I don't think they're a bad football team. I just don't think that they're a team that's going to be like, oh, wow, like, they're not wowing me right now. But yeah, I guess we'll give our predictions and then we'll get out of here. Before we do, I just want to shout out another great sponsor that's been riding with us all season, and that's Huel. Make sure you use our code 6Steelers for 15% off for new customers. I actually have to load up on some of this. It's a great meal replacement. It's going to give you all the vitamins and nutrients that you need, along with packed ton of protein, as you should eat protein with each meal. Make sure you use our code 6Steelers for 15% off today. I am going to go Steelers are putting up 24 points. And I think that it's going to be a shootout. I'm going to say the Dolphins, 27-24 Dolphins, I'm going to go. I think on a late field goal. I think that the Steelers are going to be in control most of the game, but they're not very good at playing 4 quarters of football. And I think the second half, the Dolphins are going to pull away. And I think a lot of people are going to be shocked. Hopefully I'm shocked and I'm wrong, and I'll be fine with that because I do think that the Steelers can very well just come out and blow them out. But I'm still sticking by my beginning of the year prediction. I'm going 27-24 Dolphins. I think Aaron Rodgers has a great game. I think that the defense just collapsed at the end like it has in the past. So that's really why I'm not convinced. If the defense plays well, I think it can be flipped and it can be a 27-24 Steelers victory. But
yeah, listen, given the nature of this Steelers season, I think less people will be shocked than you think if they do end up losing this game. I have the Steelers scoring 24 as well, but I have the Dolphins scoring 14. So I think the Steelers defense is going to play well, but more so that has to do with the Dolphins offense. I think being a little bit overrated. Once again, they really beat up on some bad teams the last few games. This is going to be a raucous stadium now that they are in control of the AFC North. You're not going to have the Fire Tomlin chance unless they're starting to lose. We'll see. If they're starting to lose late in the game,
they go up. You go down 14-0. I think the chance are still going to be. And that's what was funny. That's funny you said that. And just to piggyback off that, it's funny because in the press conference, Mike's, kind of we had Troy on last week and he's kind of he's like, I agree with the fans, but it's it's the players. But at the end of the day, people are fed up. These are paying fans that are there. They want to see good football. And it starts with the coach. It starts with the players. It's a whole, it starts with the franchise. And I think that that's something that, as a paid, it's entertainment. People want to see wins and they're not getting wins on the field. And it's as simple as that. So if it goes sour, I wouldn't, I would guarantee maybe a Terrell for Terrell Austin if the defense starts to, do what they do in the second half. But hey, hopefully the Steelers go out and put up 41 points and the Dolphins are cold and they're, on their way back to Miami. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I will say this, as we know, Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback. It's what year is it? This is I don't even know the word to describe it, the adjective to describe it. It's just, you would have never thought in a million years, 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers is throwing to DK Metcalf in a Steelers uniform. You would have told me just go somewhere else if I would have told you this 3 years ago.
Yeah, and Adam Thielen and Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah. Who knows? They might sign another 35-year-old. I mean, me and you, we might be able to suit up at this point. They seem to 35, 36-year-old players. So
tell you what, man, at least it worked for one game. We'll see what happens the next time out.
Yeah.
But now we get a victory Monday. It's been a minute. It feels like, so enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, and it's good.
Who knows if we'll get a victory Tuesday next week? That's for sure. So
Yeah.
we'll wrap it up now. I definitely want to thank DraftKings and Huel and everybody for rocking with us. We're excited for, hopefully what is a handful of more weeks of Steelers football, maybe some more great guests moving forward, and the ability to hopefully break down some wins.
Sounds good. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Another great episode on the Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy. Shane, close the curtain.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.